The Rippaverse hits it out of the park once again with their latest release, The Horseman Welcome to Flores Park. I am so excited. This comic is what comic books should be about.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Airy. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. Yes, I'm a fan of the Rippaverse. I have been since ISOM #1. I have reviewed virtually all of their releases. You can go to my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, and check out those reviews. Today, I'm going to give a non-spoiler review or a spoiler-free review of The Horseman Welcome to Flores Park, which I will just be referring to in the shorthand as The Horseman. As in previous reviews, I'm going to read the review from my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, which should be out today if you want to head over there and check it out. And then I'm going to just elaborate a little bit more about the comic. The Horseman, Welcome to Flores Park is a comic book written by legendary writer Chuck Dixon and drawn by the iconic Joe Bennett. The Rippaverse released it after a successful pre-order campaign. Hector Caballero is a vigilante who rips off his local neighborhood's thugs by stealing their money, right? He does this, though, not out of any sort of selfish need other than to clean up his neighborhood, but also to help his sister who is paralyzed. She's a widow and she's a single mom of his nephew. Now, after some heat gets on him in their local city, he decides to relocate to Texas where he resumes his activities. Now, because he's the new guy in town, he runs afoul of a couple of corrupt cops who figure out his identity, and they want to use him to get to a gangster that they are working for called Tuna. They're kind of tired of dealing with this guy, and so they want to use Hector to, ruin his operations. Hector is very conflicted by this and soon realizes he has to take the fight to them. To start with, while all of the covers were fantastic, Rippaverse again did their 4 releases. They do a cover A and then 3 variants, and they were all fantastic. But I ultimately went with cover A, which is drawn by Kanan White. He is an artist who works for the Rippaverse. He's kind of like their art director, so to speak, and he is a cut above. He is fantastic in his artwork, and I really liked how he drew the Horseman. Now, as for the interior artwork, Bennett does a fantastic job. He has a real knack for character designs in particular, but just more broadly, he can really make those pages seem like they're jumping out at you. You feel the action, and I'm so glad that Dixon worked with him again because he was just ideal for it after their successful run with Alpha Core. Likewise, Dixon is a fantastic writer. He's amazing. Of course, he wrote a lot of Batman stories in the 90s and the early 2000s, co-creating Bane with Graham Nolan. And here he returns to his roots. He has done so many street-level vigilantes, as I mentioned, Batman, but also The Punisher for Marvel Comics. And with The Horseman, he crafts an exciting tale of a man who chooses heroics not out of wanting to be famous or out of sort of a vengeance drive, but he does it specifically to help his family, but then he ends up biting off more than he can chew. It was enthralling and thrilling, and it's perfect for anyone seeking that vigilante sort of heroic tale. Dixon and Bennett are the dynamic duo when it comes to indie comics. Eric July was correct in trusting their instincts and letting the two of them launch this story. It landed perfectly, and I hope we get to see more of the Horsemen right there in Texas. And like I said, I just wanted to elaborate a little bit because I am enjoying the Rippaverse so much. Now, a lot of people have said some really dumb things about the Rippaverse and their founder, Eric July in particular. Don't believe any of them. Just buy the comics and have a good time. That's what I'm doing. I don't care about all of this creator on creator drama. I just want to read comics. Now, The Horseman is the perfect way to get into it. One of the things I like about The Horseman is you can just pick it up and start. So if you're kind of like, oh, I'm not really ready to try ISOM or Yaira or Alpha Core or Gooding, whatever it is, the Horseman will be a really good sort of gateway into that universe, into that comic book universe. I would love to see them continue to expand it because the Horseman is so well written, it is so well drawn that you can have a good time. No questions asked. You will enjoy every pulse pounding moment of this release. I don't really even have any criticisms of it. Previous entries, I found certain problems with them, and I talk about it in my reviews of those releases. Here, I didn't really see anything that I disliked. Hector is a very compelling character. He is well written with a lot of good depth, with a lot of good focus and a good drive. I was really excited to see Alpha Core. They kind of have some cameos in it, so you will enjoy it. I'm starting to think that Alpha Core might be being set up to be sort of the flagship characters. I know Isom was their debut character, but just the way Alpha Core has appeared in virtually every single release, I have just a little suspicion that they're going to make this huge comeback and that they're going to be big one. Now, whether Chuck Dixon or Joe Bennett return, that's up to Eric July, obviously, but I really hope that he brings them back to do a sequel to The Horseman because it was fantastic. I enjoyed it. It was a good time reading, and I know that you will enjoy it as well. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. Head on over to my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where you can sign up with your email for free, and there are no ads. You can also support the channel by clicking on the link to my locals community. It's in the description of the video. You can sign up for a monthly subscription, or you can give me tips for articles I post there, including exclusive ones that are just for the locals community. You can also support me by picking up one or all of my novels. I've got the supernatural thriller Cacophony. I've got the Sword and Sorcery series, The Seven Royals, which includes Book 1, All Good Things, and Book 2, Breaking the Stars. Book 3 is on its way. You can also check out my fantasy romance novella, Blessed Child. You can get one or all four, and if your kids are 12 and up, they can read right along with you and be a good family reading activity. Like I said, purchase one, leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.